once again get Kraken. And how are you all doing on this fine and wonderful and glorious Thursday afternoon? Well, noon-ish, I should actually say. Yes, as you can tell, I'm recording around lunchtime and still had to take another day off of work because of the back. And speaking of the back, let's go ahead and toss that compress on. I should probably do this before I start recording so I grimace less. But, I make a big show of it. I am a showman, after all. I show and entertain for you. Speaking of Thursday, it's actually more like a fall day right now. The weather's pretty warm. It reminds me I need to lower the thermostat. I actually bumped it up because of the cold blast, but now that it's warmer, I can probably lower it. But yeah, fall day, so it's like, I don't know, I want to say upper 30s, lower 40s maybe. Rainy, slightly windy. I mean, it's a nice fall day, but it's not a winter day. But I suppose for these old bones of mine, slightly warmer weather is better than really, really cold weather. I wonder if that might have actually affected it, to be honest. Yes, I did take the day off again. To be honest, it was probably more precautionary than anything. Still quite a chore when I wake up, when the muscle is still stiff. And I honestly can't vouch for how long I would be able to stand on my feet without pain kicking in. Maybe 15 minutes. Well, it's not pain so much as discomfort. But at least getting up and in and out of a chair is easy enough, and that's the important part. I don't have to be completely laid out, so I should be able to get in my car, drive. Well, once I'm warmed up, get in my car, drive to work, get across the parking lot, into the building, get my butt into my desk chair, and then I'd be good. But I did the precautionary day because, being overly optimistic is how I managed to injure myself before, and I definitely don't want to repeat that same mistake again today. And kind of unfortunate because being cooped up in the apartment as long as I have been, this is one of those days where you start to get antsy and you want to do things. And that is the perfect recipe for doing stupid things. However, fortunately, I do have a number of things that I still need to take care of. And I'm saying that while I'm sitting up the environment. And most of them actually don't require me to be incredibly stupid. So, hopefully that'll all work out right. But how y'all doing? Good and wonderful? Fantastic even? Super fantastic? Well, I certainly hope so. Thursday, which under a normal schedule would mean, well, for a normal schedule, it's almost the weekend, Friday. Not that it matters much to me, because I've been out of action for these past few days. It actually raises a question about how I'm going to handle time off. So, on the one hand, I do have the paid time off that I can use, but on the other hand, I like to keep those in reserve, plus I have the upcoming deviation for my schedule, which may necessitate using some of that time. So, obviously, I'd like to minimize that. But then again, the whole point of that time is for when you are sick or injured and you want to have time off. So, I mean, if I have it, I might as well use it. But on the other hand, if I can recuperate some of it, well, when I say recuperate, let's just say the deviation to my schedule will start next week, I want to say. So I can't make up the time for this pay period. I'm on a 2-week pay period, and this is the last week, so it ends on Friday or Sunday or whatever. I think it ends Friday. Yeah, it ends Friday. So even if I go back to work tomorrow and I work 24 hours, that still wouldn't make up for all of the time. And I would really question whether or not you could call that working. I mean, after about 12 hours, you're really pushing it. 16 is possible if you're highly motivated, but anything more than that, unless it's life or death, I would seriously question it. And to be honest, it'd probably take like a 4-hour nap anyway. The max I could push myself is 20 hours, I would think. Yeah, that's about right. Even back in my college days when I would do my all-night programming stints, it was still like a 20-hour max. Anyway, but then that would totally wreck me for the next couple of days, and I can't because I still need to do lots of other things. But if the deviation starts sometime next week, I mean, I could spend some time at work this weekend so that instead of burning time at the end of the week, I'm preloaded at the front of the week. But then again, that's all debatable. If you have the time, why not use it? It feels unnecessary to me. Plus, I've been meaning to accomplish so much at work, and this disruption is just terrible. This disruption because of my injury. Terribly timed. Terribly timed. But I suppose I should be more concerned about getting myself back to full health, so. Human nature, always focusing on the wrong thing. Well, not necessarily the wrong thing, I suppose. It depends on the environment. If you assume that these traits are ingrained into us as a result of evolutionary pressures, then it makes sense that, those traits don't work so well in a modern environment. They're actually quite useful in non-modern environments. Alright, what do we have here? We have the Bella Music School. Did I finish working on that? I don't think I finished working on that. I don't think I finished working on it at all. Okay, so according to this, we still have the hash history technical debt. So let's start it up and verify that that's still an issue. Of course it's still an issue, because I didn't fix it. But I hope you can hear me fine. I'm not going to share my particular hygiene issues with you, but suffice to say, there were some dirty clothes that I needed to wash, and now that I'm mobile enough, I'm actually able to wash them, and that's what you hear in the background. I'm also hoping the upstairs doggies are going to be quiet today. They already did some barking earlier, but they seem to be fairly subdued. I suspect it's actually mostly because of the weather. Since it's rainy outside, people aren't walking around, and since people aren't walking around, they don't have anything to bark at. But considering they probably aren't the smartest dogs around, that might not stop them. I might not be back to 100% until maybe the beginning of next week. That's my guess. That's my guess. I suspect tomorrow I'll be stiff in the morning, so it'll still be discomforting. And I'll have a reminder during the day, but not quite as much. Saturday, that warning will decrease. The stiffness will still decrease. Sunday, that warning might be completely gone, but the stiffness will still be there. By Monday, it should be completely fine. Again, assuming I don't do anything stupid. Oh my, this is awfully slow. I mean, I was doing some more of my media conversion in the background, but it should have stopped by now. I tried to time it so that it would stop at the very beginning of my session so that it wouldn't be this slow, and yet it is still very, very slow. Extremely slow. Super slow even. That's surprising. I'll have to keep an eye on the camera too. It might freeze on me. I suppose I should look at the bright side of things. Well, at least this means that I'll have this episode finished early, and I can go ahead and upload it early, and then that's it for Freelancer content until Sunday. And I recorded my Gaming with Joe episode yesterday. I took another stab at Gambit. Now, thankfully, it was not as painful as that last Gaming with Joe episode I recorded for you, but spoilers, it still resulted in a loss. Quite unfortunate. One of these days, I'll be able to record an actual win for you. I promise. I don't get to the highest rank, highest infamy rank in Gambit by just posting up losses, especially that last rank. In the last rank, you actually don't get any infamy experience for losses, only for wins. Well, you still get them for the bounties, so if you really plug at it, and I've really been plugging at it, you can still eventually rank up. Still don't think I'm going to get that second reset, though, especially when you consider the deviation to my schedule. Ooh, you know what just occurred to me? It is the end of, no, just about the end of January, isn't it? I think so. Is it? Yes, January 24th. You know what that means, fellas? Oh, you don't know what that means? Shame on you for not paying attention. Almost Valentine's. Oh, why did I close that? Almost Valentine's Day. I hope you've picked out gifts for your respective honey bunnies. Or, I mean, maybe you'll just wait. Hard to say. Alright, so what I wanted to double check, if they still have the hash history issue, that's the result of double navigation. That is, when I try to go back to the same page. So right now I'm on home, so if I go back to home, yes, hash history cannot push the same path. That is so very odd. I could have sworn that I took care of that. Alright, so let's go to info. Cursory check and make sure no warnings, which really shouldn't be because we should have taken care of everything. Like I should have taken care of it before. Let's go back to info. And yes, hash history, warning is still there. Okay. Let's go ahead and close that. Oh, should we close it? We have live reload. I didn't have to close that. Oh well, we closed it. That's fine. Hash history. The warning was in view container. View container is going to have that really wonky if-else if statement where I check against the history. Yeah. Right here. Nope. It's quite clearly I did not put that fix in there. Maybe I just didn't bother going around to deal with technical debt completely. No, I did the technical debt update like a week or so ago. I should have noticed this. I really should have. Huh. Well, this is why we do multiple passes. It is iterative programming. You hone the code. It's much like the process where blacksmiths hammer out the impurities in whatever they're smithing. Alright, so I knew that I used the similar thing in the other templates, because I have had that fixed there before. And since we followed the same format, because consistency makes things easier, let's take a look here. Oh, this looks complete. I almost certainly... Okay, for one, I know I take history from the properties in a variable declaration, and I take something else now, but I forget what it is. History. Oh, interesting. Location. I just said history. Alright, at this point, the body is broken and the mind is getting a little off kilter. Alright, so this set on perhaps transition key, that's fine. Oh, this still has the scroll too. That scroll to was because of the custom scroll bars I was using, but I think I might have taken that out. I might not have though. I'll go ahead and leave that in there. Alright, but let's copy this entire block. History being the, well, presumably the object that contains the history of where the user has navigated. But it can also be used for controlling where to go. Location, of course, is the current place where you are. You'd think you could pull that from the same thing. You'd say, where I'm at now in current history, but apparently not. Alright, so the home check is fine, and it's these other things that we need to put in there. Because we don't have info and view. Alright, that's fine. We'll go ahead and throw this scroll tube back in there just as a precaution. Now, whether or not I should do it if the transition only successfully works, that's debatable. So, like, if they're on the... we'll go ahead and put it here. We'll always do a navigation so they know that their click did something. That's part of the user design, user experience. You want to always give them some feedback if they did an action. Otherwise, they'll keep clicking away and then get frustrated, and then it's not cool. Excuse me. That would be very unfortunate if I caught another cold. No, I don't think I did anything that could have gotten me another cold, but I don't know what I did the first time. Well, no, the first time I blamed my coworker. Alright, I don't know about this time, though. That's not good. I did have a bit of a sore throat yesterday. I merely attributed that to the fact that the heater had been running, and the dry air dries me out. I did take an Alka-Seltzer as a precaution. I didn't feel anything this morning. Alright, so since we have pulled out history as a variable from properties, we no longer need to dereference it by saying this.properties. We can just say history, because it's scoped locally. Big word. Actually, no, it's not a big word. And it's two words. Scoped isn't a big word. Locally isn't a big word. What do I mean by scoped? Used it. Never actually tried to define it before. In the context of this, we can simply say that it is accessible. And accessible locally means local to this function. Whereas when I was saying this.props at history, I was referring, the scope I was referring to it, the scope within which I was referring to was within the entire container itself. But now by saying let history equal this.props, I can, within this function, I can talk to it locally, reference it locally. Talk. Code doesn't talk. Alright. And I already stopped that, so we don't get to see the live reload in action. Oh, so unfortunate. Ooh, you know what it could be? I'm talking about the cold. Because I didn't turn on the heater, I might have been sweating. And that might cause a problem too. Normally it wouldn't, but you have to assume that since my body's been repairing itself, the immune system might be just a tad bit compromised. On the other hand, it could just be allergies. You know, being stuck inside an apartment. And before I moved into an apartment, the worst I ever had allergies was during the normal spring-summer season. And it only got really bad as a result of lawns being mowed. It was all that junk that got kicked up. But your normal stuff, like even if you went outside in your car, you had like that thick layer of pollen, that wasn't enough to do it to me. But mowing a lawn, that would do it to me. That was the old days. But now, since living in the apartment, I've been exposed to something. I don't think I'm really cut out for all this modern living. Well, no, urban living. I very much like the modern amenities such as indoor plumbing and air conditioning and internet. But urban living, not my thing. Though to be fair, food delivery is nice. Food delivery is very nice. Ah, but it's still a very slow startup. Very curious indeed. Hmm. Speaking of food delivery, I'm debating whether or not I should go ahead and break down and do some more food delivery today. I did yesterday. I did try Uber Eats actually. I had not had Five Guys in such a long time, and now I've had Five Guys, and I forgot that you're not supposed to get a large fries when you order from Five Guys. I don't know how many potatoes they killed for that bag, but they killed a lot of potatoes. But it was really good. What did I get? I got the bacon cheeseburger with mayo and jalapenos, grilled jalapenos, and grilled onions, and mayo. Was that it? Did I keep it that simple? I might have kept it that simple, really. Oh, and grilled mushrooms. It was good. All right, all right. Web developer, web console. Bring it up. All right. No warnings. Let's try the double navigation. No warnings. Let's see if the single navigation works. And we have to double check that because that's entirely possible. Contact. Alright, contact works. Good. Let's do double navigation. Oh, that's interesting. Notice what I do there. I gray it out. Do I do that for the other things? No, I do not. Login. Alright, looks like we got a fix. This I would actually call a real bug. So what am I talking about? Well, to let the user know what page they're on, what do? I gray out the menu item. I don't prevent them from double clicking. Right? So they can go ahead and click on it, but now that we have the history warning, no problem. However, on these menu items, I don't accurately reflect the page they're on because I don't do the same thing. That's not good. That is not consistent. Alright, so let's go ahead and fix that. So view container, it renders the menu items. Does it, or is this app bar? Do we have, yeah, we have a top bar. Okay, so it's in top bar. So I rendered toolbar, tooltip, I rendered title, and the navigation menus. Okay, render navigation menus. If this is a menu item, now if there is no menu items or the length is 0, then I just create one button. And the class as specified by root and text. And okay, here we go. I specify the text class. I change the text class to being selected or not. And I say that by checking what the current transition is. In theory, I could check the history object too, so that's a little excessive. But I already have it in there, so that's fine. Now, the interesting thing then, I do not do that for a menu item. Sloppy. Alright, so let's go ahead and go to Material UI. Let's take a look at the menu items to see what the... It's probably the same thing. That's the one thing I do like about Material UI also, is that they tend to be consistent also. So I would likely have to override their their text value too. Text style, I should say. So we have classes, right? Same thing. And we can override root. Alright, or we can just say selected. Alright, there we go. Alright, so we're going to add the check here. So let selected equal false. Now if this menu item object dot transition key, that is what I'm currently processing right now, the value of that menu item obj dot transition key equals It seems odd that I would define it that way. Why is transition an array, and why am I referencing it like that? It's a very odd check. Normally I'm smarter than that. Or maybe I was just so smart that I outsmarted even myself. CFG menu item object. Okay. obj dot Nice, that's the wrong check. Actually, what I'm doing with this particular check is I'm merely checking within the transition array whether or not this key is present. And if it is, then I'm going to say selected equals true. That seems like a really bad check. That seems like a very bad check. Well, that's always going to have it as selected. Selected equals selected. I don't know if selected is going to disable it too. We shall see. We shall see. Verbal tick. Verbal tick. Nice that I actually found this bug. It is an honest bug. Small bug. It doesn't break anything, but again, a key factor in the user experience is consistency. You don't want to change things. You don't want to change the behavior of an application for a user. Okay. Compiled successfully. But that is a bad check. The transition key would have been undefined. Well, that's why I didn't render. I'm genuinely curious. I need to take a look at that transition array. I don't feel like I'm using it right. And that syntax is not right either. I could... Is it? No, I think that's right. In top bar with styles. Transition. CFG object menu item. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. That didn't look right. And that is the benefit of live reload. I don't have to restart the entire thing. And based on how I code, you can see why I like having it. Alright, so it comes up. That's good. I want to see what happens if I go to info. Right. And if I go to info again. Ah, okay. You see how it's... That's how it does the selection. It basically highlights it. I want to change that style. So I'm going to have to actually override this style. Instead of doing that, instead of doing this, which is highlight that thing, I want to gray it out. Alright, that is what we're going to have to do. But we are at the 30-minute mark, so I will wrap this up for now. We'll have to get to it on Sunday, I suppose. Cool kid words about liking and subscribing, commenting, and suggesting. I hope you join me tomorrow. No, tomorrow's Game with Joe. Yes, I still hope you join me anyway, even though it's pre-recorded. And I hope you join me on Saturday when I do my live recording, which will be Drinks with Joe. But until the next time you join me, I hope that you have a wonderful Thursday and that you take care and God bless.